What? Huh. Okay, this thing's just gonna be stupid fast. G'day guys, it's Wolffy here and welcome back to the channel. So I was aware that there was some changes made during update 1.31 the other day to the BOP and the physics and all that sort of stuff, but I've just discovered how much of a change was actually made to the PP limits, especially with Group 1 cars. So the 787Bs, it's received a reduction in PP points, but no loss of power and no weight added. And this thing's already, the OP car for the Sardinia grind. So this is just going to make it even more untouchable. So I figured I better work on my tune and try and come up with something a little bit faster and a little bit crazier. So I've gone for the ultimate power build on this one. Okay, so let's get stuck into the tune. Now I've gone with the racing medium tyres, front and back of course. I've got the body height adjustment set to 59 at the front and 60 at the rear. The anti-roll bar is set to 8 at the front and 5 at the rear. The dampening ratio compression is 25 at the front and 35 at the rear. And as for expansion, we've got 45 at the front and 46 at the rear. The natural frequency is set at 4.53 at the front and 3.76 at the rear. Negative camber is set at 1.7 at the front and 1.4 at the rear. Toe angle is set at 0.06 outward at the front and 0.18 inward at the back. Now the initial torque is set at 8, acceleration sensitivity at 12, and braking sensitivity at 25. So for the aerodynamics, rear downforce is set to 1596. Now you'll note here that any changes to that kind of throw the numbers out a little bit. So if I reduce this, it goes up to 818. Or if I go up, it goes to 818. So you're looking at about 20 odd performance points there. Now you've got the same thing with the front downforce. If I'm to move this at all, it goes up by about 20 performance points. So that seems to be the sweet spot right there. Now we've got the fully customizable ECU and it's set to 100%. There's quite a bit of ballast, it's 194 kilos, but this also plays into the little glitch. As you can see there, if I increase or decrease this, it goes all the way up to 818. Now there's no change in the actual acceleration performance, but the PP changes. So if I send the ballast any further forward, it starts to go up a bit. But if I send it back, it's going to go up to 819 this time. So yeah, minus 39 is the perfect sweet spot there. Now the power restrictor is set at 100%. We've got the fully customizable racing transmission, and I've actually played with the gears just a little bit here. The main thing you're going to want to do is change the final gear. That's gone down to 2.380. And you won't need to play around with the actual gears themselves. Just stretch out the final gear, and that should be enough for now. So that's just going to lengthen them and get them the right length for this track. So we've got the high RPM turbo, and I've set my brake controller forward, but that comes down to personal preference once again. And yeah, so I'll say that I've basically just tried to build it for power and done the best that I can for the actual control of the vehicle. But given that it's got quite so much power, so we're looking at 1,000 brake horsepower here, and it's pretty much spot on 1 ton. and we've got a little bit more weight at the front than we do at the back. Now it's not overly uneven, but it does have a bit more weight at the front. So it's pushing out a 10.1 second quarter mile and 17.1 seconds for a kilometer. So that's super quick. But yeah, as I was saying, it will understeer a little bit under power. So the rear wheels are just forcing it forward that fast. It wants to lift the front wheels off, and no amount of front downforce will actually compensate for that when you're going really fast around the corner. So you kind of have to modulate your acceleration a little bit rather than just trying to turn harder sometimes. But yeah, you guys will get the hang of it, and you know, obviously it's just faster than it's ever been. Okay, so I'm just going to roll on the clip. This is one of the first races I did, and yeah, it actually went not so bad until a certain point in the race. So I'm going to leave it in fuel map 1 basically until I get myself into first place, which is only going to take about a lap. So I'm going to fuel map 1 it, get out in front and just put it in fuel map 2 for a little while just to make sure, because I wasn't exactly sure how long the fuel would last. But yeah, so by the time I get to the end of lap 1 I'm into second place and I'm not too far off first. So at this stage I'll drop it into I'll leave it in fuel maps 2 and just I'm close enough to him that I just get past him real quick and roll along in fuel map 2 for a while, just until I know that I'm going to have enough for the 8 lap stint. And as I finish lap 2 I'm looking at a 1 minute 33, so that's a minute 36 for the first lap, a minute 33 for the second, so already pretty quick. And yeah, I can see that it's actually going to be pretty good straight off the bat. And so by the end of lap 5 I'm starting to get used to the cornering and taking wider, longer corners, and starting to post some consistent numbers. So, you know, consistently 1 minute 33s and a 1 minute 32 in there on lap 3, so it's looking pretty good at this stage. And I've also noticed that I've still got 3 laps worth of fuel now, so I'm able to chuck it back into fuel map 1 to compensate for the extra fuel I used in lap 1 to get in front. And so at the end of lap 8 the fuel consumption looks good, so a little bit of time on fuel map 2 seems to be enough to get me through. So we're going to put on a fresh set of mediums and we're going to fill up to the top with fuel just to be safe. And from this point on it's just going to be fuel map 1 all the way. And for the next 5 or so laps I'm going to use the entirety of the gears, so I'm going to really rev it out, because the 4 rotor seems to just really give you that little bit of extra time when you spread each gear right out to the top of the rev range. So that worked out getting me a 1 minute 31.8. So I figure at this stage, you know, I'm a chance at getting the 1 minute 30 if I can string all these corners together. So I'll really start pushing, especially now that I've got less fuel in the tank and the car's nice and light. However, I get a little bit too caught up in trying to chase lap times and don't realise that, yeah, I was revving it so hard that I was using twice as much fuel. So I went through about 8 laps worth of fuel in 7 laps. So yeah, if you're going to rev the guts out of this thing, then just keep an eye on the fuel. Yeah, if you do, surely you can get a sub 24 minute race with this one. I'm sure some of you faster guys out there can really knock the times off. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that one. Go out and make a mint with it. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so that whenever I drop a new tune, you guys will know it's out there. And if you've got any comments, leave it down in the comment section, or any ideas or anything like that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And until next time, take care guys. Bye.